every generation of Twitch streamers, before we dive into like the news head first, every generation of Twitch streamers has this exact same issue. Stable Ronaldo calls out the fakeness in the streaming industry, saying people genuinely don't like each other anymore, and he can't figure out the reason. There's plenty of money viewership content. I don't know why this is a thing. This has happened in every single generation of streamers, okay? Every single one. I came up with the crop of talent, like before my generation, the generation prior to mine was like Ninja, Tfue, Pokimane. They all popped off. And then my generation of streamers were like, myself, XQC. I think it was like Nick Merckx as well, kind of. You could put them in there. Mizkif, that was another one. Ludwig, right? Cutie Cinderella. Like, this was our gen of content creators. And if you notice, like, there's a lot of fucking drama in that gen. Like, there's a lot of people who have actively fought one another and don't fuck with each other at all any longer. And now this generation after us is like Aiden, Speed, Kai, and then I guess like the second version of that has been like the Phase Boys as well, if you want to loop all of them under the same umbrella. And there are always content creators in this space that just kind of do their own thing. Lyric is a great example of this. You know, Moon, Lyric. Like, there are always content creators that like kind of do their own thing. But there's also content creators who collaborate with one another. Like, I would say Keizo is like this new generation's version of like Lyric, right? Keizo just does his own thing. He like collabs with people every now and then, but he just like stays out of everything. He stays out of trouble. He stays out of drama. He's great. I mean, he's been doing his own thing. He's popping off. Whereas like a lot of these other guys, they collaborate with one another, myself included. Ultimately, from my personal experience, what I've seen that has taken place is that when money gets involved, when there's too much money to be made, when there's too much clout, I think ultimately people find themselves fighting over one another and like fighting for like the seat at the top, I guess. It becomes like very transactional. Relationships become very transactional because like before 2020, a lot of content creators were just like friends with one another, like legitimately friends with one another, right? In my generation of content creators, like the top dogs, we were all friends with one another. We like legitimately hung out with one another, you know, Trainwrecks, XQC, even fucking ASMONGOLD from time to time. And it wasn't like a thing. It wasn't a big ordeal to just like collaborate with someone, right? And at the time, their opinions weren't the way that they are. So when you say like, ew, you're reflecting on that with like today's opinion. You're reflecting on what these guys look like now, or what these guys say now, but it wasn't like that back then. They just weren't like that at all. Throughout time, I feel like those collaborations became like more serious, more professional. Like there was an expectation, a tit for tat. It became way more transactional, right? And people got segmented. I think like the big nuclear bomb in terms of like my generation, like no longer collaborating with one another and no longer having a sense of community with one another, I would say was during COVID, XQC's mistreatment of other content creators kind of started this drama a little bit, because he would just like treat every content creator like a fucking NPC. And because he was rewarded tremendously for that, no one really said anything about it. And a lot of people just like kind of let it happen. It wasn't even just GTRP. It was like Among Us, GTRP, No Pixel. Every time there was like a serious collaboration, like that's where it initially started. That's where the fissures initially started. There were some people who called him out. I wonder who those people are. You know, they got yelled at quite a bit. And I was doing that as a friend too, like at the time, because we were still close. And then after that, it just like kind of kept spiraling over and over again. Then there was the Kick ordeal. A lot of these guys were getting money from a crypto gambling casino online. And, you know, of course, when financial interests come into play, there's also obviously like people that want to protect their bag. And then Kick gets created as a website after stake.com is banned off of Twitch. And in the process, a lot of the people that went over there, they had a lot of animosity. They had a lot of anger towards those who didn't. And then I think like the big nuke obviously was the Mizkif Trainwreck stuff, right? It just imploded. People became extra cliquey and no one ever hung out with one another the same way ever again after that. But that was just my gen, right? A long, convoluted, complicated Twitch history. And now I think this is happening for these guys as well a little bit, you know? He's very cloud driven. Ludwig talked about how so many creators talk to him after streamer games about not being invited, including Neon. That's so funny to me because like I've been friends with most of the people that were there for literally like the past 6 years. Okay, including all the new talent. I'm pretty friendly with them. And I'm not upset. Who the fuck is someone random getting upset after like never having any relationship whatsoever with these people? I'm not even fucking upset because I understand like, you know, you have to fund these big initiatives, and some of those companies that fund these big initiatives are obviously going to be companies that work with the state of Israel and are not too fond of my commentary on that same state of Israel, or even actively fund Donald Trump's big beautiful bill. So that's so funny that like people get mad. They really hated you for being the face of getting steak banned off Twitch. Yeah.
I don't actually think streamers have egos. I think streamers just don't like each other. Simple as that. And it's not based off egos. It's just based off they just don't like each other. And people fake friendships. And put question marks all you want. I'm going to be honest. I just don't think people like each other. I don't really know why. I think this shit, there's plenty of money for everyone. There's plenty of viewers.
This is the healthy attitude to have on this, for the record. I do think there's a lot of ego involved as well. I think there's a lot of clout. There's a lot of ego. There's a lot of money. There's financial interests involved as well. In my experience, what I have realized is once money is a part of this process and people get driven by that financial imperative, as opposed to just like, you know, taking whatever money you're making and like being excited at the prospect, being excited at how fortunate we are to even be at this position, instead of just like actively just like hanging out with friends and trying to make people trying to entertain people. It turns into this like transactional relationship. Like who can I do this with? Who can I get clout off of? That kind of thing. I can't imagine having to pretend to like my coworkers to make more money. I am fortunate enough to have never had to do any of that. You act like it's not a job. I mean, it is a job, but it's also not a job, if you know what I mean. It's not like a real fucking job, especially for like a lot of content creators. What kind of, like, look, I log in every day. I clock in. I'm doing fucking news commentary for like, you know, 10 hours, not 10 hours, but like 8 hours, right? A lot of these guys are just hanging out. They're fucking playing golf. They're rizzing girls up. You know what I mean? Like it's a job in the sense of like, it's still supposed to be entertaining. You're supposed to be doing that. You're okay. People are saying 6 hours, fucking chatters. Jesus Christ. Like for a lot of these guys, they're just like having fun and filming themselves in the process of having fun and making a lot of money. And it's amazing. And I say this as someone who thinks my position, which is definitely a little bit more serialized and a little bit more serious than what these guys are doing, as an unimaginably, immensely fortunate, immensely privileged position to begin with as well. IRL streaming is way more exhausting than desktop. I disagree with that. As someone who does both, you're actually 100% wrong. I will stand on that. I think desktop streams are harder and worse on your fucking mental and have a worse toll than doing IRL streams. I do both. I'm telling you, I've done both for years. One of the best aspects of Twitch was that there is like a big community here, you know? There was a massive community here where content creators would like genuinely get together and hang out and have fun. And that's gone. And that kind of sucks that it's gone. But that's why I love the FaZe boys, because they just still keep that energy. Yeah, but you don't do both at the same extent. Like you ain't IRL streaming 8 hours a day for weeks on end, lol. You just flop for a few days. In my experience, when I do like 4, 5, 6 hour IRL streams, like I recognize this when I started going to the protests. I was in the middle of these fucking protests getting shot at for like 4 hours straight, getting fucking pepper sprayed and shit. And that literally took less out of me than sitting here and having to listen to chatters yell at me over fucking minutia. I would rather go to a protest and get shot at than have to sit through like a drama segment with members of my community fucking chirping at me over like some minor disagreement that they've decided is the absolute worst possible thing that could have ever happened. I'm telling you, I love this community. Lol, he hates the chat, lol. No, I love my community. I'm an incredibly, incredibly fortunate person, but I'm telling you, it takes a fucking mental toll, okay? I'm telling you. Does chat appear in your dreams? Not as much anymore, honestly. I don't know what happened. I don't know at what point. Because, like, remember, I used to talk about how, like, I would debate in my dreams, right? Like, I would come up with, like, talking points sometimes. Like, I would come up with, like, commentary in my mind while I'm sleeping, while I'm dreaming, and then I would wake up and then I would write it down. I'd be like, damn, that's a good fucking talking point. And I'm always on. -10 aura. I'm always on. I mean, it's not aura. Nothing I do is aura. Let's be real. I'm not frustrated by any of this, by the way. I'm just telling you, like, this is in spite of all of the tremendous fortune that I have seen in my fucking life and in my career in particular. I don't know how we moved on to, like, IRL. I think is like more fun to do and less brain and soul sucking than a desktop. It could just be a me thing, to be honest. Bet you won't read this. Do you think about chat after your nut? See, do you understand what I mean when I say this shit is worse than fucking IRL streams? Do you understand it, chatter? Do you understand it better now? Do you understand it better now? Do you understand it better now? Example proven instantly. The reason why I say IRL is better in general than desktop is also because, like, I think being outside is healthier than having all of your interactions be on the internet. That's it. Because, like, I interact with fans nonstop in the real world when I go out, right? And none of them are asking me questions like that. Because, as I always say, human beings in the motherfucking real world, in the meat space, behave very differently than human beings on the internet. The same guy who will say some shit like that is not going to do that. I thought the top dog in Twitch politics was ASMONGOLD, but something shifted. Something shifted yesterday, and it turns out we actually have a similar number of viewers, as a matter of fact. I mean, he was hitting like 50K every day. He was always like 20K above wherever I was, sometimes even 60K. I would have like 30K to 40K. He would have 60K. And now it seems like we have the same number of viewers, which is, I don't know what it is. I'm not even saying that this is, I'm not making any inferences about this. I'm not saying that this is like something that ASMONGOLD himself did, but it has been a significant decrease in the viewership after Twitch said that they were going to go after bots. Like I said, though, I don't even think this is like his own doing, for the record. If you remember when I was talking shit about Kick initially, when I was in Japan, not the last time, but like a couple times ago, it was weird that like the three people that were talking shit about Kick was Misgif, Pokimane, and myself, and we all got weirdly botted at the time. Like, we had clearly, like, our view counts shot up, and it was weird. It was like, normally in Japan, it would be, especially in the weird hours that I was streaming, I would normally have like 20K, but this time I had like 40K. Now, it could be because people are getting bored of Donald Trump and pro-Trump content and pro-Trump sentiment. That could probably be a part of this, or, you know, maybe whoever was doing it stopped doing it potentially. Why are bots bad? It's because it's fake. It's not real viewership. And Twitch is a very top-heavy platform. So if you are, when you're at the top of the just chatting section, for example, then it's very top-heavy platform. People just come and watch you. Like, organically, real viewers come and watch you as well in that process. I mean, that's one of the biggest values for botting. And I think people do it for advertisers as well, to like justify higher pay rates when they're doing sponsored campaigns and things like that. What is this? XQC responded. Hasan talks about how right-wing commentary has popped off due to ASMONGOLD and points to XQC copying the same rhetoric. Monkey see, monkey do. See Asmon pop off, making Nick Fuentes jokes. Greatest example. XQC doesn't have any worldview, just saw Asmon. Is it for kick? Is it for clout? Is it for Asmon? Is it grift? Is it for steak? Brother, you got us all biting our nails about this one. He makes fun of conspiracy Andes, yet pushes the most schizo narratives. How is this a schizo narrative? You literally saw ASMONGOLD popping off, and you decided to do political commentary as a meta, and you tried to do the ASMONGOLD style political commentary, and your audience fucking screamed at you for it. Thank God there were fucking juicers who still had, like, you know, brain cells and were like, what the fuck do you mean? Why are you trying to talk about politics like ASMONGOLD? You're not doing a good job. His own community was cooking him for fucking months. He knows that that's the case. I think that's part of the reason why he stopped. The craziest thing is, like, If XQC just stuck to not doing gambling and not collaborating with like some of the worst fucking content creators and just stayed playing video games and eating his toenails and having a good time, high intensity fucking gaming sessions, he probably would be still one of the top content creators on the fucking platform. But you know, sometimes you make these decisions and you know, you have to live with the outcome of said decisions.